By the end of this video, you will know exactly whether upgrading your RAM is worth it or if your money is better spent on something else. I'm running 3 popular games: Hello Night, Sleeping Dogs, and FIFA 19 updated squad version, to see if upgrading your RAM makes any difference in gameplay or it's just a hype. Everyone says upgrading your RAM makes your laptop faster, but does it make any difference in gaming? Today I'm putting that to test. 3 laptops, same spec, except one thing: the RAM. 8GB, 16GB, and 32GB. Alright, in this video I'm comparing 3 laptops, all with the same specs except the RAM. I've got 3 HP EliteBook 840 J5 here. Each one is running an Intel Core i7 8th Gen processor, the same SSD, the same integrated Intel UHD 620 graphics, same everything. The only difference is one has 8GB RAM, one has 16GB RAM, and this one has 32GB of RAM. Now I know UHD 620 isn't a gaming GPU, but a lot of people still play light and medium games on this laptop. So let's find out, does upgrading your RAM make any difference in gaming performance on these laptops? To test this, I picked 3 games: Hello Night, Sleeping Dog Definitive Edition, FIFA 19 Updated Squad. Let's get into it. Test 1, Hello Night. Starting with the 8GB version. Before even launching the game, the RAM usage sits around 4.8 to 5GB. Once the game loads, everything runs smoothly. No lag, no frame drops. So far, Hello Night seems to play perfectly fine even on the 8GB of RAM laptop. Switching to the 16GB version. Interestingly, RAM usage goes up to around 6.4GB. The game feels a bit smoother, but no huge difference. The more RAM the system has, the more it tends to use, but overall experience is just slightly more fluid. Now the 32GB version. Here the RAM sits around 6.3GB max, about the same as the 16GB. Gameplay feels identical to the 16GB model, so for Hello Night, anything above 8GB doesn't really improve the gaming performance, though the 16GB and the 32GB version feels much smoother. Test 2, Sleeping Dogs. Next up is launching Sleeping Dog Definitive Edition. I launched all laptops side by side. During the loading phase, the 8GB model used about 5GB of RAM, and the 16GB used around 6.4GB, and the 32GB version about 6.1GB. But once the game started, I noticed all 3 systems began to struggle a bit. The GPU maxed out at 100% across the board. This is a GPU heavy game, and integrated Intel graphics are really the bottleneck here, not the RAM. In terms of gameplay here, all 3 laptops perform really similar, a little laggy at times. Even though the 16GB and the 32GB used more RAM, it didn't translate into smoother performance. So the conclusion for this one is adding more RAM didn't really make much difference in the gameplay. That's because Sleeping Dogs rely on GPU power instead of RAM capacity. Test 3, FIFA 19. On the 8GB version, RAM usage peaked at around 7.3GB, almost maxed out. On the 16GB version, it climbed to 9.6GB. On the 32GB version, around 11.5GB. The GPU again hit 100% on all 3 systems, but I could feel the gameplay on the 32GB version was the smoothest overall. The 8GB lagged the most, and the 16GB was somewhere in between, playable but not perfect. For the FIFA, more RAM does help slightly with the smoother gameplay, but the GPU is still the main limitation. After testing all these 3, here's my honest takeaway. For light and medium games like the Hello Night, 8GB is totally fine. For heavier games like Sleeping Dogs or FIFA, adding more RAM helped a little, but not dramatically. The real bottleneck isn't the RAM, it's the GPU. If you are using an Intel Iris or UHD 620 graphics or any of these graphics, don't expect high-end gaming performance no matter the amount of RAM you add to your laptop. But if you are currently on an 8GB laptop and you can afford to upgrade to a 16GB or a 32GB, you will get smoother multitasking and slightly